Here we go. We ready to go? Team? All right, mic's on. You got yours? All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the February 2nd, 2026 regular city commission meeting starting at 6 o'clock. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Your computer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, announcements. Do we have any announcements this evening? I don't have any on my list. All right. I will say that Commissioner Sorolla is absent. We knew ahead of time that he wasn't going to be here, so why he's not sitting up here tonight. We will now move to approval of the agenda. What's the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support. All right, Abby, call the roll.
Mayor Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrey?
Yes.
Commissioner Vetni?
Yes. All right, now for public comment, this is for items on the consent agenda or items not on our agenda. Please come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Come on up.
David Bowdy, 319 Winwood Drive, and it's just a thing every month I come in here about not being able to connect up to St. Joe City Guest or whatever it is. SJ City Guests for the Wi-Fi, and tried it again and the password doesn't work. But I only tried it once, so.
You said you tried to connect and it's not working for you?
I tried to type it in again
Hmm.
and but only once. So
Okay.
I've got to try it a few times here, but it hasn't connected for a while.
Okay, thank you. Other public comment?
Hi, Paul Knapp with St. Joe Today. I was just wanted to say thank you so much for a great event weekend. The city staff was excellent in helping us coordinate all the logistics that we needed from the city to make it happen. We had an awesome chili tour on Friday night and a sold out beer fest on Saturday. I think people had a lot of fun. They wouldn't leave. So it was a good time. And we're looking forward to another great event weekend with Ice Fest. So hopefully it doesn't get too warm. We
Ice
prefer to
Fest
stay
is
cold.
next weekend.
Coming.
Yes,
this
this
coming
upcoming,
weekend,
yes, thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Absolutely.
Other public comment? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Items include meeting minutes of January 12th, 2026, invoice and tax disbursements, quarterly investment report, PA 20, new board appointments, special event application, Alex's Duck Duck Run, St. Joe Housing Commission monthly update for November of 25, the St. Joe Housing Commission monthly update for November or December of 2025, public inspection of assessors records resolution, flock cameras, 2026 Independence Day fireworks display. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Fernandez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrey?
Yes.
Commissioner Vetni?
Yes.
Mayor Thomas?
Yes. All right, items on new business. We have special event application, lest we forget.
Lee Sherwitz, Vice President, lest we forget. You can go ahead and next slide. So it's our 250th anniversary. Lest we forget has over the past years celebrated all of our military personnel who have sacrificed their lives for the freedoms and protections that we have today. Next slide. Our 250th year semi-quincentennial, I knew it. I even practiced it.
I struggled.
Semi-quincentennial. Got it.
Nailed it.
On the banks of the St. Joe River, down at the Riverview Park, July 18th and 19th. Reenactors, yep, you're right on. Reenactors, I'm not going to read all that. we have demonstrated in the past, we bring in they're not professionals, they're all volunteer reenactors. They take on the persona and the reenactment of the person that they represent. We've got a great organization, Northwest Territorial Alliance. They have structure. They do this on a regular basis. They've just added us to the schedule this year. We'll bring in probably 150 to 200 is what we're guessing. So it's going to be a really big event. Cannon fire, home tenting. They'll have I'll get to that a little bit later. But the reenactors take on that persona. You're going to see battles. You're going to see performances, possibly an axe throwing contest, all the things that took place during that period of time. Next slide. There's a draft schedule, typical of what we've done in the past. We're having pancake breakfast and reenactments during the day. Saturday night, we get the reenactors, give them something to enjoy themselves. They'll have a dance on Saturday night. They might do a little imbibing, but full schedule there for both Saturday and Sunday. Next slide. So here's the logistics here. So we're looking at the Woodland. Thank you, Woodline Lodge. Up there. For the encampment area in the shade of the trees, the people that we had come up and survey the area, they said they loved it. Right across the street, closer to the river, would be where the battles and the artillery will take place. Plenty of standing room. The public will be standing basically on the roads. We'll tape off the areas so that based on where they set up, we'll have enough room for the public to see everything going on. Reenactors parking, we've got on the south side there, all the parking areas already laid out, and additional displays that we'll bring in as we always have in the past. Next slide. And somebody had a concern about the parking being wet and not capable of putting cars out there. Plan B, Niles, just as an example, we would bus the people in. We'd find a location and bus them in. We've done that for several of our events. We're looking at Nyes, but I understand all the things that are going on over there. Plan C, if that area is flooded out and we can't do it down there, we'll go back out to the airport and hold it out there. Next slide. 250 years, long time. Our proposal for this year, another aspect completely different from our event, is the month of July. We want to set up down at the carousel. Next slide. Down at the carousel there where you see the 250, we want to put in 250 flags representing the 250 years. There's enough room there to do it. It won't come out as a 250. We would have loved to do that, but there isn't enough land to actually spell out 250. But we'll have a nice display down there. And that'll be up for the whole month of July. And we might ask that we get in there a little bit early, a couple days early to start setting up things. But basically for the public, for the full month of July. Next slide. Our previous displays, 2009 at the airport, Senior PGA each year, Lakeshore Boulevard there along the high school, multiple displays that we've put on with flags in the past. Next slide. Flag installation, got to drive them, we got a lot of planning and a lot of work just to make this happen. So, all that will happen. We have the manpower and we've got the enthusiasm. Next slide. Lest we forget our parade schedule, we hit as many parades as possible all throughout Southwest Michigan. We've even gone into Indiana, down to South Bend. We'll be at Blossom Time again. The kids love us. We've got our little airplane ride that we give the kids rides in. So we'll be out and about throughout all the parades. Next slide. We're doing another speakers program this year. Obviously, 250 years. We went out and researched trying to find speakers. We don't have them all locked in yet or our dates, but we're looking at LMC. They've already said that we've got the classroom again. We've done this quite often at LMC. So it'll be in April and May, doing historic discussions about what took place during that period of time. Next slide. And there's a little history of all the different, not all, but a sampling of a lot of the things that we've done since 2000 up through, that one's to 2012. Next slide. 13 on down to 2025. We've been active in the community. We support all the veterans in the area, and we will not forget our veterans. Next slide. Thank you very much. Now the ball's in your court.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions, comments from the commission?
No questions, just, I'm really looking forward to, seeing it this, as I mentioned to you before the meeting, this is my favorite time period in American history, so I'm looking forward to seeing you transform Riverview Park.
I don't know if I'm reading this wrong, but there's a pamphlet that's on page 164 says the event is June 20 and 21, but it's July, isn't it?
It's July.
Okay.
That was our normal, that we originally were looking at that. That was one of our earlier publications.
Okay, so that's incorrect. It's the July
It's
date.
July.
Okay, thank you.
And the reason for that was the reenactors weren't available.
Mm.
So we had to find a date that they weren't back to back against another weekend, that we could get the participation. So that we picked that date so that we get max participation, 150, 200 is what we're expecting. And
Wonderful.
maybe even more, who knows?
Yeah, it seems like you have a great plan too for Riverview Park. If it gets a little bit, the river gets a little bit big down there at Riverview Park. So I think that,
Yeah.
I think it sounds
Well,
great.
middle of July, spring thaw will be over, as long as we don't get too
Yep.
much rain.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to at Whirlpool Centennial Park as well.
Field of Flags.
The flags.
I move to approve the Lest We Forget a Republic If You Can Keep It special event application and the Field of Flags display as requested, and to authorize staff to issue a special event permit.
Second.
You can have it.
Any public comment on the matter?
Please come out and join us. You'll be amazed.
All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Betney,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We're looking forward to it. Next item, number 16, Parks Hours Ordinance Revision.
Good evening. Over the last several years, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board has grown more and more concerned with the city ordinance related to park hours. The current ordinance as written states that using or entering any public park between 10:30 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless specifically posted or otherwise allowed by the city would be prohibited. This has come up as a result of some concerns, complaints from visitors and residents about not being able to fish, stargaze, watch the northern lights. As an example, fishermen show up as early as 4:30. It is currently written that activity would be prohibited. Last summer, the northern lights were active, but not visible until after 10:30. So with direction from the board, city staff researched some options, spoke with some communities up and down the west coast of Michigan before coming back to the board with a recommendation. January 8th, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting, staff presented the following recommendation. Park hours are 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. unless otherwise posted. From 10:30 p.m. to 6 a.m., parks may only be used for quiet, passive recreational activities such as walking, fishing, bird watching, and stargazing. And that would be subject to compliance with all of the park rules and regulations. Any questions?
Thank you, Greg. When I first was trying to wrap my brain around this, my thought was, if we're gonna let people in the park outside of park hours, why even have park hours, period? Kind of seems counterintuitive to what we're trying to do. But then after conversations with staff, and being told that the Parks Board was also on board with this, it makes the most sense. Other communities are doing this similar, way of functioning, to meet kind of everybody's needs in the community. So that's kind of where I'm at with understanding why we're doing what we're doing, because there's a lot of differing views on how to handle these park hours, and this seems like a middle ground from what I'm understanding.
You know, as an example, public safety has asked fishermen to leave Riverview Park because they're fishing at 5:30. You know, this would allow them to do that, and they wouldn't have to, you know, they were doing nothing wrong.
Mhm.
They were just in the park outside of what was allowed.
Yeah.
I think it's, represents an improvement, outlines a couple of specific activities that are, pretty reasonable thing to want to do to, nighttime if you're a fisherman, or in some of the other outlines, the stargazing we've had, we've been lucky with some northern lights sightings over the last couple of years, I feel like. So all reasonable things, but it's an improvement to the old policy. So I think this is good. So thank you to, Greg, your team and the Parks Board for taking a look at it and
Coming up with this now. Other comments, questions? All right.
I move to approve the first reading of the ordinance to amend Chapter 20, Parks and Recreation, Article 2, Section 20-18 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Joseph as presented, and to present it for a second reading at the next regularly scheduled City Commission meeting.
Support.
All right, do we have any public comment on this issue? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Vetni,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Olry.
Yes.
Thank you. And then parking lot design, strawberry and peach lots. Is this you as well, Greg? Great.
This fiscal year, 75,000 was allocated in the capital improvement budget for design of the Strawberry Lot, which is located on the east side of State Street between Market and Elm. Staff prepared a request for proposal for design services and the creation of construction documents that was issued on December 11th and made available on the city website, as well as sent to several local engineering firms. Additionally, due to the size of the lot, staff also included the design of the Peach Lot as a bid alternate. Peach Lot is located on the south side of Ship Street between Main and Court, behind the post office. Responses were due January 27th. At that time, we received 9 responses. After a thorough review, staff recommends accepting the proposal from Rowe Professional Services in the amount of $67,800, which is under the budgeted amount, and that would be for both Strawberry and Peach Lot. It should be noted, Rowe is not the low bidder. They were actually the second low bidder. With that said, staff feels the parking lot design process would benefit from a new voice. The low bidder, OCBA, was part of the design team for the Raspberry Lot previously. Staff has worked with Rowe recently on the Botham Avenue project and was very pleased with the design and work done by their team during the design and construction phases of the project. Any questions?
I didn't have any, too specific questions. I think I understand the rationale, after, talking through it a little bit with Emily, about why not choosing the low bidder and stuff. And I think there's, some good logic to that choice, and hopefully we'll have, an improved design and a better experience, with this new company. So.
Yeah.
And I think hearing that you were pleased with the work with Botham feels good, like you have a good working relationship, that the element of trust comes along with that. So that's not worth nothing there.
And it should be noted, a portion of the Rowe team is actually working with us on the Main Street project as well. So that's been going well. I mean, there's a lot of things indirectly we've been working with them there, but they're involved with that as well. So they've been good.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question for Lori.
Sure.
So my husband works for one of the firms that submitted, so should I vote? For conflict of interest, just for
So-
transparency.
Yeah, a conflict of interest arises if you have a financial interest in something that's coming before you.
Mhm.
So it really depends on what capacity he works in. If it's something that could impact his job and you're voting on potentially, something that would impact you from a financial perspective, then you should recuse from doing that. It's,
At this case, it does not.
okay.
All right.
I move to accept the proposal from Rowe Professional Services of Grand Rapids, Michigan in the amount of $67,800 to be paid out of the Capital Improvement Fund and authorize the city manager to execute the appropriate documents on behalf of this.
Support.
All right, any public comment on this issue? Come on up.
Carl Meyer, 505 Properties, 505 Pleasant Street. We're doing this to a lot of parking lots around the city. Why haven't we done anything on parking lot A?
Which one?
That's parking lot A. Apple is just to the north of 505 Pleasant Street.
You wanna
We
speak
have
to that?
potholes. We have dirt there. People have fallen down in the parking lot. We've requested the city to do something over the last 5 years. We've patched it. It doesn't do the job.
Agreed. All of our parking lots need attention. Some are certainly worse than others. And to the best of my memory, the Apple lot is among the worst. I believe, and Greg, jump in if I have this wrong, that the sequence was set by the DDA and we started with what is now the Raspberry parking lot next to the fire station, moved to designing the Pear lot right across the street, and are now moving across the street to Strawberry and incorporating Peach, really, because it's fairly small and we can bundle them together. I believe Apple is coming up very soon on the list, and it was a list prioritized by the DDA based on the conditions provided by Public Works.
Yes.
I don't think that's the answer you're looking for, but it does give you some background on how we got where we are.
But we've heard this for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's not, the other parking lots are better conditioned than parking lot A. That's what I don't understand.
I think that we can happily chat about it, maybe do a reassessment and come back. I don't know, Greg, if we have any wiggle room in the timeline here. Unfortunately, the way that these are currently budgeted is to do a design of a lot once every other year and the build of a lot once every other year. Because the Pear lot is so expensive to build, we are pausing on it and doing 2 years in a row of design. But I mean, the schedule as it has been laid out is not fast. That is also not what you want to hear, but accurate. I think, Greg, if there is wiggle room, I'm happy to review it and have a discussion. But I do think that the Apple lot is next on the list of priorities. It is. Okay, thank you. I'll defer to the commission on that.
I would also request that we have a city employee that cleans around the city every day,
Mhm.
does a good job. But he does not go to parking lot A,
Okay,
and he's been requested several times.
we can work on that for sure.
We've cleaned that up several times.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carl.
thank you, Carl.
Any other public comment on this matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrey.
Yes.
Commissioner Ventney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item up is fossil fuel resolution.
Evening, Commission. So this is a request that was brought before the Sustainability Committee by one of our residents. So this is a resolution in support of the formation of a non-proliferation treaty for fossil fuels. Basically, in English, that means that it's in favor of not going any further in creating new drill sites for oil, for example, and the general slow phase out of use of fossil fuels. This is something that has come up at the UN level. There is not currently a treaty in place, and this would be in support of the creation of a treaty. Basically affirming that the city of St. Joseph acknowledges the human health ramifications of continued fossil fuel production and that sort of thing. So I'm happy to take any questions because I know this is a bit dense.
And just for some background, it was a resident concerned about this, wanted some information. We kicked it to the Sustainability Committee for them to kind of figure things out. And then the Sustainability Committee is referring it to us through this process.
Yes,
Okay.
yep. So a resident came with this request that the city show its support. The Sustainability Committee took a look to vet to make sure that the sponsoring organization was legitimate and do a little bit more background research. And the committee came forward with approval.
In this one, like many of the other, requests for different, proclamations of different months, largely this, does have, symbolic value. And I think as the sustainability, committee looked at that and, even reading what it is, it's a global thing and we are just but a small city that would be, very small in comparison to some of the other things. But as the sustainability committee reviewed it, they felt, and brought it before us with their recommendation that these are good principles, to adopt and good things. And so I think this is a good notion and good, things to, make a statement of support for. But I'd also be curious if, maybe the sustainability can kind of, it's always good to, there's always good causes to show support to. But if maybe the sustainability committee can, also help us take one step further, if you, for those of us here with us tonight, the sustainability committee has done things like Bee City and they've done, found some different ordinances that we can modify related to, some of the natural plants and vegetation in our city. And I wonder if, along the same vein of this, if they can, maybe look at, different areas of our city with our, an example that comes to mind is Public Works, consumes fuel and, some kind of practice that they can come up with and bring to us. And, but thank you for the work that the Sustainability Committee did in reviewing this and bringing it to our attention. It's good stuff.
So this is more symbolic. So should we wait till it has something we can improve our city?
It's actionable.
Yeah, because it feels very hollow to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather use our time to, I don't know, put recycling bins on Lake Wolf Park.
I think those are different examples of projects that the Sustainability Committee can come up with and stuff. I think, as I read this, I think there's no action that this requires us to take, nothing, no pledges. This is largely, as you said, a symbolic show of support and, that demands little to no follow-up, right, afterwards. So similar to many proclamations we've done in the past and things we've supported, I have no problem with supporting this, but my ask of the Sustainability Committee would, and maybe this is what we can provide, is direct the Sustainability Committee to find some action items and things, like those barrels, for example, that you mentioned, and find some actionable items that we can see and touch. I love that.
Mm-hmm. We had a couple of resident emails come through about this too, echoing similar thoughts of, why do something that we can't do anything about? So I would like to see some of the things you've been talking about, some more actionable items. I would definitely get behind that.
So does that mean we table this?
Well, in that case, I'd like to move to approve the resolution supporting the call for an international fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty and global commission on fossil fuels, and additionally direct the Sustainability Committee to explore ways to implement some best practices within the city.
Now, your point, if you want to table it, that's another option to do. So he made a motion to approve it pending those things. But if you want to talk further about tabling, that we can have that discussion as well.
I prefer to table it because one brings it up to the committee again, commission, and we're talking about things that we care about once again, and we'll have action items on it.
So I think this,
Do you have an opinion on either way, approving, tabling, deny?
Yeah, I know they all kind of seem, they all seem similar as well, but I agree that, if the sustainability committee, I think, is excited about doing this and putting this into action, I think I would like to tie this to and maybe that's something they need additional resources from us too, right? I mean, I think that, one example that popped up just in some conversation about this was, how do we incorporate electric vehicle chargers into some of our parking lot designs? I think that when that starts to come up, and we have a real, whether that's a budget amendment from us or some, kind of physical support for it, I think that would be an important time to tie it together now. Unless the sustainability committee needs us to do this first before that action. And I would look to Commissioner Fernandez is on the sustainability committee. So, I don't know which direction that has to go in.
I don't.
Well, go ahead if you have more comments.
No, I don't think they need further, this is on this particular, resolution. They recommended that we, adopt it, but they don't need anything further from us after tonight. There's no additional follow-up on this particular resolution after tonight, if that's what you're meaning.
Unless they came back with it tweaked with a different version with actual
If we
items
don't,
on
then,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's where the part of the direction that I'm providing, I see this is largely a symbolic thing, but we've done other things in the past that are similar. I don't see the harm in doing it. But I also, the second part of my motion is for direction to them to find those action items. So it is that call for, this is a great declaration that we support these types of things. Now go find us some action items to implement. I don't know what that will be yet, but that's the direction that I am proposing that we give.
I think we have the same goal, but different direction. I prefer to table. I don't know what's the
So
process
next-
of this?
Right now, we have a motion, and if
Okay.
we don't get a second, the motion fails.
Okay.
So I will wait to hear if we get a second.
I also think it's a good idea to table it. So does that mean I'm seconding Lisa?
Well, if I hear silence, I'm gonna just say motion fails in just a second, and
Okay.
then we'll open it up for
Okay.
more
And
discussion.
second, yeah.
No, I apologize. Just to make sure I'm getting the
Good.
right
Good.
thing on the record. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, motion fails for lack of second. Do we have more discussion on tabling?
I would love to table it because I think I'll give the committee motivation. I know they're very motivated, but it makes me feel better to have more of a carrot versus a stick type of.
Do you need a motion in
Yeah,
that effect?
a
Okay.
motion to table.
If you want to motion to table the.
It's my first one.
I'd like to make a motion to table this, I
Sorry,
think is
Angela.
enough.
What was the word?
Like to make a motion to table it?
I
or
would like to
move
make a
table?
motion to table the treaty discussion.
And do we have a second on that?
So-
Support.
Public comment on this matter?
Tess.
Okay, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetni,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes. Thank you. All right, next item is BSNA Cloud Tax Module Upgrade.
And the next three.
Very good.
Okay. So the next three items are linked. I'll probably referencing them together. If you choose not to do the first one, it's okay. We can pull the second one or modify or pull the third one. We're not under any kind of time frame. For the first one here, I'm going to reference the agenda item pretty closely. What we're asking for is a budget amendment to the 401 fund to fund the purchase of the BSNA Cloud Tax Module. In almost other Michigan counties, the local unit of government maintains and are responsible for the current current property tax roll. However, in Berrien County, the county hosts and maintains the property tax system for all 39 local units. Berrien County currently uses the old version of BSNA for this purpose. And during our recently completed upgrade, it was discovered that the way that we were communicating with the county for our tax receipts will no longer work when they're on the old and we're on the new. The BSNA conversion team is able to identify a workaround for the current tax year to finish because we're almost done. But this is a temporary solution and not viable long-term. And what we're actually doing is downstairs, if you want to pay tax and anything else, you have to go to 2 separate windows. So you have to actually walk down the window to another machine. There will be some benefits if we maintain our own tax roll. For example, some daily maintenance tasks that are done during the tax season, like processing address changes and name changes, sending out tax change notices, preparing mailing the bills, value adjustments, etc. They need to be processed by both the city and the county to some extent, depending on the exact task. If these are done solely by the city, we will gain some efficiencies. Also, by having our own tax module or other modules like accounts payable, UB, assessing, community development, and cash receiving, we're able to take advantage of the features that we can't use now because they don't talk. And with every BSNA Cloud module, if we get the tax module, we'll see some benefits like data backups, remote access from anywhere, and better security. There will be some downsides. Some additional workload from tasks currently handled by the county will come our way. For example, we need to work with the mortgage escrow companies directly. We'll be responsible for delivering and maintaining the tax roll, and we'll need to provide a copy of the tax roll with our distributions so the county knows what we're paying. But we're confident that the benefits of maintaining our own tax roll will be greater than the added burdens. The actual fee for itself will be around $3,510. And this is a little more than half of what the county is charging us for access to their side. And in the agenda item, I've listed the past several years for reference. So the actual ask we're asking for is a $14,000 increase to the budget. And I've included the quote in the packet for reference. The $14,000 is made up of $3,510 for the tax module itself, $4,970 for the project management implementation, $2,450 for training, and then it also includes about $1,845 for personnel and travel for the BSNA team, another $1,225 for additional training if needed. I'm only including that in case something goes catastrophically wrong and we have to have someone come back. So that is that request. Do you have any questions?
Oh, Ben, I think you explained as well, and this might come up again, this is saving us money in the long run. Is that the next part
Yes,
of your
it will pay
item?
for itself.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that part is
While
clear.
also enhancing what you can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And improving the user experience
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Yep.
Both wins. I don't have any other questions unless.
No, I got my questions answered. Thank you.
I move to amend the 401 budget as presented.
Second.
Any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Bettany,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
All right, number 20, 2026 tax agreement, summer tax agreements.
So this is normally on a consent agenda, and these are the agreements with the 4 schools. We approve this every year. I'm talking about it now because they will see a savings also because we're now doing our own taxes. So what happens is we invoice the schools depending on how much of parcels they have. For example, Benton Harbor only has like 9 parcels, so we don't even invoice them, but we invoice St. Joe Schools, LMC, and RISA. We invoice what we're charged. So in the past, we've invoiced what the county's charged us. Now we're going to invoice what BSNA charges us, which will be more than half. So schools will see a big savings too.
Mhm.
Also, I am changing from me signing the agreement to the city clerk and the mayor. So those are 2 changes to these 4 agreements.
Do the schools know that they're getting cost savings?
No, we'll let them. We didn't know if it was approved yet, so we haven't told them.
Okay. Very good.
Guess you better get ready to make some good news calls. I move to approve the 2026 summer tax agreements between the City of St. Joseph and the following school districts: Benton Harbor Area Schools, St. Joseph Public Schools, Lake Michigan College, and Berrien Regional Education Service Agency as presented, and to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreements.
Support.
Any public comment? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Betney,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrich.
Yes.
All right, last but not least,
Okay.
we've got fiscal year 26 budget amendment, 401 capital projects fund.
Yep. So this is, or we're doing our budget maintenance, and this particular item, we're asking for full 401 budget amendments. I'll start with the revenue side. We are increasing the budget, $39,900 for a public safety grant. This was for the Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vests. We're increasing the budget, the revenue budget for a federal capital improvement grant. This is for the Whirlpool Centennial Park grant received this fiscal year. So it's just cash that came in this fiscal, not last. We're increasing both interest and investments because we ended last year much better than we projected. So I didn't put enough in the budget to handle the additional revenue for the interest and the investments. So we just need to up that to cover those. We happen to have a donation come in, so I'm increasing for $3,000. Okay, and this is the big one. We are decreasing the budget. This is the transfer in line from the general fund for the paid downtown paid parking surplus. So if you remember, we were supposed to offset our expense, and then the general fund would keep a portion, and the remainder would be moved to the 401 fund to be spent downtown. But because that didn't happen last year, we don't have that money to move, so we need to reduce the budget to account. There will also later on this year, we'll have an amendment on the general fund side to reduce the transfer out because that doesn't need it either. So there's a companion. Altogether, we are reducing the revenue mainly because of that 400 grand for the transfer down to $510,700, a reduction of $191,800. Now talking on the revenue side or the expense side of the house, many of these are projects that are coming under budget. There's a couple that are over. The first two, we're decreasing public safety two-factor authentication project because that is coming under budget. The next one is a $60,000 decrease for the purchase of shotguns. And I want to explain that that is really in the budget, so you are aware that we're doing that. But because the employees pay that back to the city, I have to move that as to a receivable, so the expense goes away. But I still want to have the budget there, so someone has to approve it, and we have to go through the motions. But now that's happened, it's moved, and we don't need the budget. Okay, now we're increasing 25 grand for the Public Works facility upgrades. That's the new building. That project is coming in over the budget. We have a small $5,000 increase for paid parking downtown invoice that came in after last fiscal year closed. So I just need to cover the budget for that. We're decreasing the zoning ordinance codification project by $55,000 because we don't think we'll experience the full 75 this year. The rest of that will be moved into next year, and you'll see on next year's request. We're increasing the DDA line, $181,700. And what that really is, that's just a rollover of the unused money from the 600 grand that the commission allotted the DDA use back in 2021, I believe. So it's just a continuation of that project that's being rolled over to this year. We did the same thing last year. And if it's not spent this year, we'll do the same thing next. We're doing a $1,200 increase for the Howard Trail Erosion Control. That's another invoice that came in after the close of last year. We're decreasing Lap the Bluff because it came in under budget. We're increasing in Dickinson Park parking and restroom. This will finish over the budget. And if you remember back in September, we approved the bid, which was more than we anticipated. So that was over the budget. And this is just a budget amendment to bring that project back up to where we approved. We're increasing the Whirlpool Compass Fountain restroom facility by $13,800. So it's just another one that's coming over. We're decreasing the ice arena boiler by 100 grand because we were able to use tankless water heaters instead of the initial scope of the project, so saved 100 grand there. The decrease for the carpet in the public safety side of the city hall also came in well under budget, $35,000 under. I need $700 for painting in Lions Park shelter, just came over budget. Okay, now this is the BSNA cloud upgrade, which I just talked about. This is for the larger portion of the project, so not the tax. And there's a couple things to make up this amount. We're asking for $29,600, but $14,000 that was already from the first budget item I talked about. The rest of that is covered by a mistake by me where I didn't budget the expense, the travel expense for the BSNA team that came here. So we need to cover that. We also paid for an additional day of training to implement the benefit transactions being done by the system. So when we have payroll, we will now have pay and benefits flow to the project instead of me doing that by hand after the fact. So that's a huge benefit we'll see. And then the 14 grand, which we've already talked about, and then I was over $400 on that project, so I need $400 there. And then the last one is a 50 grand decrease for the Brownfield consulting contract. And if you remember, we put that in the budget because we weren't sure at the time if the Brownfield fund could fund that project, but we have since discovered that it can. So I don't need it in the 401 fund. So we're just removing that. So altogether on the expense side, we're asking for an increase of $35,800, and 14 grand of that has already been accounted for by the first budget item or agenda item, for a total expense of $2,417,200. Does anyone have any questions?
I just want to add for a little bit of context that one of the things that Ben and I have been doing for the last little over a year is having quarterly budget meetings, so that rather than seeing changes like this sort of push through at the last meeting in June, which you will still see because there will still be other changes, we are trying to do this on a quarterly basis so that it's more transparent and more timely. So this is probably the biggest one we've seen in our time doing that, but this is coming out of those quarterly budget meetings that we're holding with each of the teams.
When you do that, when you used to do it once at the end of the fiscal year, was that a lot more work? Is this saving work, or is it's just more real-time data?
This is time consuming.
Yeah, it's both though. It's definitely a benefit.
Yeah, we have, I think, a much greater awareness of where we are, and it improves our ability to budget through the year and think about how we can spend, what we can or can't do, how we need to adjust through the year when we have that kind of awareness every 3 months.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
A lot of moving parts, but I mean, I just echo the value of the increased frequency of the financial reviews and just being more ahead of it, so that we don't have those end of yearly surprises and stuff. So I move to approve the fiscal year 26 budget amendments as presented.
Second. All right. Any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Olry.
Yes.
Commissioner Bentley.
Yes.
Thank you, Ben. All right, last item is just a report. We've got the downtown parking open houses. Is that you? Oh, Kelly's coming up. Come on up.
So I'm sure you all know this, but as we potentially move forward with a 2026 downtown paid parking program, the subcommittee is looking for additional feedback. We've been talking to business owners and residents and everybody, and the subcommittee has a very different plan. It's all in draft form. So in order to get more feedback, we're having 4 open houses over the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow and Wednesday they're geared towards the downtown businesses. If residents come, it's fine, obviously, but we kind of wanted to separate the businesses and the residents a little bit. So tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. here in Commission Chambers, and Wednesday from 2 to 4 for businesses. Next Monday and Tuesday, they're both from 5 to 7 p.m. Very casual, one-on-one conversations. A lot of the subcommittee, the DDA, and city staff will be on hand to have those conversations. We've got big graphics ready to roll. So yeah, it's just, we want to get as much feedback as we can. There'll be an opportunity for anonymous suggestions or comments. So if somebody doesn't want to vocalize their thoughts, they can write it down. And then we'll take all the information, all the feedback back to the subgroup. Look at what the suggestions, recommendations, feelings are, and tweak accordingly, before it potentially comes back to commission. So just wanted to remind everybody that those are happening.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Yeah. All right, that is it for our agenda. We will move to city manager comments.
I have very little for tonight. It's all things Public Works these days. The snow has been a lot. And Greg and his team have been so dedicated, working so hard, tolerating me and my frequent texts and phone calls. And I'm just really grateful. I was also grateful, as Greg and I discussed today, for the sun this weekend. Things look so nice today. Amazing what a couple days of sun will do. Also, just want to echo what Kelly said. Without going too far into it, there was a lot of learning last year as part of the downtown parking program, a lot of listening, a lot of feedback received, and there have been a lot of discussions from the parking subgroup that have resulted in the drafts that will be shared in these open houses. And I hope that folks from downtown businesses and residents will make time to come and see them, give them some thought, give us some feedback, make sure that the parking subgroup hears their feedback so that they can be refined and then the commission can consider them. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission comments.
I echo some of the thoughts that were already shared. I mean, as part of this parking subgroup, I look forward to, seeing who comes out and what they have to say, and presenting what we've been, coming up with. And it is different, but, also we've got a lot of other, fun stuff. I know it's been challenging with the snow and on Public Works, just because they're clearing out the snow, they still have to deal with all those water main breaks and stuff. And they're doing a fabulous job with that. So thanks, Greg. If anybody's looking for something to do tonight, since we're going to get out of here pretty early, feel free to stop on by St. Joe High School. Their girls are finally getting a chance to play on the brand new finished floor for their high school competition gym. So that's where you can find me.
Cool. Other comments? No. We've been getting a lot of emails, just a reminder about snow removal. It is the property owners. If you're a business resident, the sidewalks in front of your house is the owner's responsibility. Just because I think a lot of people don't know that. So I try to spread the word whenever I can. I'm always talking about how beautiful our area is in the winter time. And this weekend was a perfect example with the great events that we had Friday, Chili Fest, like Paul said earlier, Beer Fest, and then the Ice Fest coming up this weekend. Go enjoy the beach. Don't go too far out on the pier. Stay safe, but enjoy the beautiful winter that we have right now. With that, we will close our meeting at 6:53 p.m.